All right, I think we're live. Happening. It's like a microphone. Put a microphone so I can see my screen. Got a monkey butt. Got a monkey butt right there. All right, everybody. Welcome to Houston. We have a problem. I got all sorts of problems. One of them being it is Shiny Shirt Week, and I am in the tiniest shirt of Shiny Shirt Week that if I actually let myself go, I think a button may destroy a piece of equipment in front of me. It is just tight. But you know what? This is a Tory Richards shirt. My favorite shirts are Tory Richards shirts. It is a beauty. It's got dragons all over it. You can see a dragon butt there. And I don't know, it's a dragon head. There's a dragon head right there on the shoulder. It's glorious. It's absolutely glorious. Okay. So, welcome aboard. Guess what's happening today? It is day one of a 8.5 trading day cover to close a certain stock I can't talk about. So we're not going to talk about it, right? We'll talk about the hypothetical stock that could be comparable in a hypothetical situation. If you had a stock that was heavily shorted and it was going private without a sales price because it wasn't going private from a purchase, you must close those positions, man. And we saw today, perhaps a stock doing exactly that, right? Indeed. Makes you wonder and ponder and all those other things. Monkey butt? What are you doing? You're staring at me. Okay. Well, how far is rocket ship's going to go, you think, folks? Because right now I think FOMO is what's in play. I don't think anyone's bothered to close anything. I don't think they can afford to. Here's what I think. I think that if you short a stock when I was at like $1.80, 21 cents, and the stock price is at like 10, 11, maybe $12, you can't afford to close because you are now like 10 to 50 times over leveraged on your short position. So you made $100 million shorting a stock. You're like, woo, 100 million bucks. And now you're underwater $1 billion to $5 billion in liabilities, and you have now 7.5 trading days to get it closed. You are absolutely screwed. You are beyond screwed. You are effed in the A, and you can't afford to close. So what's going to happen is you're going to keep shorting. You're going to sell more naked shares today. Why? Because of your escape plan, right? You can't afford to close, but you can sell more. And you take that cash and you put that cash offshore into an account, kind of FTX style. You put it into the Bahamas, British Virgin Islands, Caymans, Canaries, just somewhere else in the world. And you're loosely affiliated. You can say, oh yes, our assets are attached to this account here and this account over there and whatnot. And so when you have to report your assets can be reported as part of that. But when push comes to shove and it comes time to liquidate, the regulators and the brokers who liquidate do not have access to that account. They can't reach into it, pull the money out, and use it to close positions. And you, as the owner of a hedge fund, can just snip the little connection between your hedge fund and that offshore account, and that cash just floats away. And your hedge fund, what's left, your investors get liquidated. They lose everything. And then it goes to your bank, your prime broker. They suck all the money out of there and close everything. And when all the dust settles, and you're like, oh yeah, we don't have any money. You just go to the Caymans on vacation and you go play in your money like Scrooge McDuck. And I think that is what they're doing. Because there was more shorting that happened today. There was more shorting that happened today on a stock that in 7.5 trading days cannot have any shorts on it. Like, how dumb do you have to be? Well, the only reason you're doing that is because you got a plan. And that plan involves money laundering and laundering all that cash offshore somewhere else and then leaving it for someone else to be stuck with the bill. That's it. That's my entire thesis behind that. And before I forget, I'll call back. And you're off. There we go. Woohoo! Okay. So, I just realized that my link for the other After Dark video was stuck in my old Twitter, which I don't have access to anymore. And I'll leave that buddy to send me another one. But what was it? Bubbles? Bubble Bubbinators? Send it to the Go Ask Houston one. I can see it there because Elon can't kick me off of that. Otherwise, LinkedIn, Instagram, stuff like that. Yeah. I did watch the Ryan Cohen interview. I mean, it was an okay interview. It didn't really seem more fluff than substance. And I'm sure it was set up that way simply because there's only so much Ryan Cohen could talk about. But I would have been more curious to hear like his specifics behind like why he was like, I'm out of Bed Bath and Beyond. And more about like what his future is for GameStop. It was an okay interview. It was all right. I just, a little more substance behind it. The little Twitter things were kind of fun, but that went on a little long for him being like, what do you think? And the guy being like, I think it's this. He's like, well, maybe you're right. I was like, okay, well, he's not going to tell you, man, for half that stuff. Okay. Houston, a lot of talk going around about MMTLP and metamaterial. What is the difference between the two, and you think they'll both squeeze? Well, I'm not supposed to talk about them, but I will talk about a fictitious company called ACME. And ACME has an ACME preferred share, and the ACME preferred share is about to go private, and they have to close all short positions on it. And the ACME preferred share is going to rocket through the roof. And now ACME itself perhaps owns a significant portion of the ACME preferred share, so that when the ultimate sale comes around, the ACME company gets a nice little windfall from it, and can display that value to its shareholders. So when asking if both can squeeze, one will for sure in the next 7.5 trading days, and the other one might come along for the ride and then have its own true independent squeeze later after they open the books and go, wow, look all this cash we have. So that's what I might be sitting on. Pair turn. iOS wallet finally released. 1.0 looks to be finalized. RC interviews saying he was busy with work, but now it's done. 3 filings for 3 branches of GME Entertainment. 0x MoonPay Gmerica. All right. And away we go. Time to show that profit. It's Christmas season. It's the retail Christmas time when they make all their money. So let's hope people actually have money to do that with. And I can't. I'm being honest. I cannot take a deep breath while wearing this shirt. It is, man. I am very, very. I feel like I'm wearing a thunder coat. Like when your dog's nervous and you're wrapping one of those things, and all of a sudden they just feel snuggled and fine. Philip Clayton, Houston. Hope you're doing well. About to hit the sack, but before I go, have you seen the Ryan Cohen interview? Oh, yep, there it is. Yep, this guy's everything Adam Aaron isn't. Yeah, kind of. I do think it's important. The Ryan Cohen in that interview bringing up that the leadership of companies should be made up of people who are invested in that company, and not hired guns who essentially can leave at any time with their golden parachute and be like, whatever, screw you, I'm out. It should be made up of folks who bought in because they believe in the company. And if you have leadership that isn't buying into your company and buying into something else, then why are they leading your company? Right? He had a really good point about that in his interview. Which is why I don't like any of the AMC board. They suck. whenever they get something, they sell it off. They never bought in to become part of that role. And I'm sure that there are folks who have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of shares of AMC that could easily replace them on the board as somebody who actually cares about the company. I think that's a big thing that they should have their position on the board, and it shouldn't be handed to these folks who, really couldn't care if the company lives or dies. Lost waves. How cold does it get in the Eye of Africa? I think it's pretty cold. It's out in the desert, so there's no moisture. So when the sun goes down, all that heat blasts off into space, and it probably gets pretty darn cold out there. SJ, Houston, your new favorite holiday destination. Let's see. You wrote favorite the British/Canadian way. Let's see where they're taking us. Shabam. Google Earth. Go Google Earth, go. There we go. Leaving the mysteries of Blue Lake, Washington. Heading to somewhere. Where do we end up? Like Virginia or something? The Route. A new favorite holiday destination. It's apparently right about here. Let's see, we got some nice landscaping. Let's pop down that road and see what we got. There's an oak leaf. Elon University. All right. I like that. Okay. Oh shoot! I got super chats. I missed them. Jason Blackwell. Show 27 was the first show I asked a question in chat. 200 shows of dad jokes, questions about Acme, and mocking you over double intros. Sorry. Bonus if you guess what stock I asked about show 27. I'm going to guess you asked about GameStop? Okay. And pen name, your stance on DRS isn't logical. Whether it makes a difference or not is not the point. Mitigate risk and only put 5% DRS. There's a long list of crime, dark pool, naked short, etc. Their disrespect for DRS is just another crime on the list. 5% is nothing. It can't hurt you. It can only potentially help, just like every item on the crime list. I mean, DRS if you want. By all means, have fun. DRS, do it. I don't think it's the end-all be-all, personally. I don't think it really makes a difference whether you DRS or not. They'll still naked short because that's what they do. And they don't need your shares to do it. That being said, the hoops to get through for DRSing, kind of pain in the ass. And to sell, kind of pain in the ass. And I haven't looked into what Boss Blunts was saying, that if X number of shares get DRS from the float, that they delist due to liquidity issues. I've not looked into that at all. That's a good question to ask. Like, if liquidity dries up, what do they do with the stock? Well, they might move it over to the OTC, which then there's no circuit breakers from that point forward. But also, there isn't the regulators looking at it as closely as when it's a stock on a major exchange. But yeah, if you want DRS, by all means, do it. Just know that since DRS became the main movement, the stock price has only gone down. So, weird, right? Like, we're DRSing so we can moon this thing. And then as everyone DRSs, the price keeps getting lower and lower and lower. It seems like you should do the opposite, right? Like, if you're lowering liquidity and people are doing nothing but buying, the price should only go up. The big problem isn't DRS or not DRS, it's that dark pools exist. And if dark pools didn't exist, if payment for order flow didn't exist, if high frequency trading didn't exist, these suckers would have flown already. They would have mooned to $1 million and beyond already. But they've got outlets that can combat anything we do with DRSing the stocks. They do. And until we can get the SEC and Congress to do something about dark pools, high frequency trading, payment for order flow, they're going to continue to do what they do. Bill Cohen. All day, Reddit has been flooded with DRS posts far beyond normal. I believe someone is panicking and doing a huge push to DRS. Isn't Reddit always packed with DRS? I mean, you make a post in Superstonk, the first thing that comes up is a thing telling you to DRS. They love it over there. So, I mean, I wouldn't be able to tell what a huge push is and huge push isn't. Drusal. If same short hedge funds are short ACME and become over-leveraged, could that trigger MOASS for GME when they go tits up? In line with market crash. Yeah. I mean, in my example of ACME, I suggested there might be a company that's shorted $100 million and now are facing $1 billion to $5 billion in liabilities off that one short position they created, right? So they're going to get liquidated because obviously they're not closing right now. Otherwise, we would see them closing, and the stock price wouldn't be at $11; it would be at like $100 today. And they're shorting more. They've been borrowing more. They've been selling more because none of us are selling, right? We have a stock that could potentially give you a dividend that's $30 to $100. You're not going to sell for $10. That'd be stupid. So you're going to hold on to it. And everyone who seems to have that stock knows what's up, and they're holding on to it. So who's selling? It's probably FOMO buying and naked short sellers. And those naked short sellers, you know, if it's an algorithm doing it, the algorithm might be part of 1,000 companies these hedge funds are shorting, and no one's really paying close attention. Because if they're paying close attention, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing right now. So if you're shorting 1,000 companies, and this just happens to be one of the 1,000 companies you've been shorting, you are going to face liabilities across the board, because if this company exploding results in you getting liquidated and your prime broker possibly getting liquidated to close positions, then all the other positions are going to get closed as well. Or be stuck on the books like they have with Archegos and Credit Suisse. There's just this cancer eating away at everything inside of your system, destroying your entire bank. So our best hope is that their prime brokers are American banks that can have the Federal Reserve bail them out. Because right now, Credit Suisse doesn't have that ability because the Swiss central bank isn't powerful enough to bail out their liabilities. And the Swiss can't afford to mass print Swiss francs because they need as close parity to US dollars as they can, because that's what their economy is based upon. Although if they did absolutely destroy their own economy, it would make my skiing trips really, really cheap all of a sudden. So, you know, give or take on that one. Maria Garcia, Houston, I'm confused. Is ACME regular and preferred both going private? I thought it was 15 days. Am I wrong? Only ACME preferred is going private. ACME General is not. The 15 days is calendar days, and what they have are the trading days between those calendar days. And since an S1 hypothetically got approved last Friday, means they get this week and next week, and that's it. And this week, there's only 3.5 trading days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and a half day on Friday because of the holiday. And then next week, they get 5 days. So they only had 8.5 days total in which to close all their positions. So they got 7.5 left now that the trading day is over. That's where they are, Maria. It's going to be pretty interesting to watch. I'm not sure what day the brokers take over. Like, if there's any small hedge funds out there, they've hopefully closed by now. They're like, oh shit, we're like a couple $1 million in the hole. Let's just spend money. And they closed. The big ones may have taken out huge positions, and I don't think they can. And so they're just going to double down, short some more, offshore that cash, and then, you know, give up their clients' money in the end. Probably face lawsuits, but they'll be in the Bahamas and all sorts of shell companies and LLCs protecting them. So, you know, good luck. Good luck for people who invested with those guys. Looks like fledgling oil companies in Texas will be taking you down. Okay, where was I? All right, I did SJ's Elon University one. Yeah. Did I tell you I got banned from Twitter again? This time for managing an account to promote abuse. And I think it was largely because I was just making fun of Elon and he saw it and was like, no. But I've asked Twitter to look back at my original The Houston Wade Twitter account I had for like more than a decade, the Putinesca account, and to reinstate me because comedy's legal again. So I think jokes about the literal translation of Putinesca should also be legal again and not constituted as hate speech, which is what it got flagged as, probably from my stalker, but whatever. We'll see. I just like to be on the ship as it goes down. That's fun. Holgerson, Houston, have you heard about the S&P Africa 40? It lists the top 40 companies of the continent. It's basically the spy of Africa. Oh, God damn it. Holgerson! Andrew Stewart, are my comments even working? I can see that one, but I didn't see any of your other ones there, Andrew. So that one works. Are you not allowed to post coordinates again? Is that what's happening, Andrew? Luke Alexander, Houston, when is the last day to close all positions on ACME? Gonna wait till the last possible day so I can cash out the peak. Well, if ACME was approved on Friday the 18th, that means the last day to close positions would be Friday, December 2nd. So that would be the last day. Okay, Andrew Stewart can't post coordinates either. Something about YouTube and certain people just can't. They're like, no, your coordinates cannot be posted. Sorry. Say my name. Say it. Boss man Elon said that I have to show up and work hard. So I quit. Can I file for unemployment? I don't want to work hard. Well, I mean, when your boss man fires half the staff and then makes you do their job for him without any increase in pay, why would you stay? Right? You can get 3 months severance. You can go on to a company that will give you things like stock options, somewhere where you're appreciated. You don't have to work 80 hours a week because, quite frankly, no one wants to work 80 hours a week. They don't. Why work 80 hours a week for someone else? Like, maybe for yourself you work 80 hours a week, or if the job is really, 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 really fun, if you're having a blast. But if like your job consists of moderating social media and all you are confronted with all day long is like violent images, tortured children, all sorts of stuff that gets reported, war crimes that get reported, and you've got to sit and like go through that and moderate it and make sure like the public is protected, it takes a toll on your psyche. And now all of a sudden you got to do twice as much of it because all your coworkers got fired. Or, you know, like, why? Why would you be like, oh, I'm going to be so hardcore. I'm going to fucking look at violent images of children being tortured like 22 hours a day because Elon asked me to. No, you're out of there. Like, if you're working payroll, HR, any of those, like, having to process 3, 4, 5,000 exit interviews and stuff if you're in HR, that sucks. So you know what you're going to do? You're going to quit and get an HR job somewhere else. So that's why there's no one left to payroll. There's no one left in accounts payable. There's basically no one left in HR. There's nobody left in any of the compliance areas, such as the FTC or the GDPR, the European Privacy Compliance Standards. No one left doing the child safety compliance standards. And why be the only person there? You're going to get all the blame for not meeting any of those requirements. And you might as well be like, screw this, I'm out. And then if you are working hardware architecture and, you know, your boss is just deleting all the work you've done over the years, why? Why even stay? Why stay at all at that company when you can get 3 months pay and go get another job somewhere else that's going to pay you more and give you stock options? You're going to do that. The folks left at Twitter are all H-1B visas that require employment to stay in the country. So they're going to stay until they find a new job somewhere else. And then they're gone. Beach Bone, once again, we get positive GME news, iOS wallet, and radio silence from mainstream media. Your thoughts? Because they can't afford to give GameStop good news. They're paid by the hedge funds to only talk about the bad news. So if there's good news, they're not going to report on it because their bottom line is to take cash payments from the hedge funds. You know, that's what Jim Cramer admitted to doing. And you only talk about what they want you to talk about. So that's why you're not getting good news about GameStop. Guitar Stuff. Houston, what are your thoughts on the concept of Atlantis? I think Atlantis is an overarching allegory for any lost civilization. I mean, there's lots of cities that vanished from rising ocean levels, from the Black Sea forming, stuff like that, tsunamis, and we just sort of just call it all Atlantis. And plus, we always like to talk about advanced civilizations disappearing because it gives us as human beings an ego to be like, yes, we have achieved great things in the past, and we can do so again. And which is all the information got lost. It got lost, and so we got to start over from scratch, which gives us as people wallowing in mud throughout medieval Europe something to look forward to. Like, we did it once before, we can do it again, and that's what I think. I don't think it's actually a place called Atlantis is lost. We've mapped the ocean floors. Ain't seen nothing like it. Monkey butt. Monkey butt. Monkey butt. Dude. You always just want to scratch just your collar, and then it makes the loudest noises in the entire world, and it's just so loud and noisy, and it's the loudest noise that can ever be loud noise, right? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Paratarian, Houston, is it too late to get in on that good old ACME? I saw it's gone up quite a bit already. Haven't really paid any attention until recently. For some, it might be hard because if you got some cash and you put it into your account to get some, it's going to take like 2 days of clearing before you're allowed to purchase because that's the way they do it with OTCs. So if you already have cash in your account, I'm sure you can get some. If, say, you sell other stock you have, you should be able to use those funds to get it. But any fresh cash going in, you have to wait a couple of days. And I have no idea what's going to happen over the next couple of days. We might see a steady rise, and then next week, maybe when the craziness happens, we may even see them short it so hard at some point this week. They seem to do that right before there's huge explosions and a squeeze. It's like da 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 da, oh, poof, just hammers down, and all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of deals to buy, and then takes off. One of the things they try to do is try to shake everyone loose from their stop loss orders. So people will set stop loss orders. They'll set stop loss orders at $10, and there'll be, 1 million shares at $10 have a stop loss order, and they'll short it down below $10, and they'll force the sale of all of those shares at $10. And that'll, bring the overall price even further down. So I have no intention of putting any stop losses in here. None whatsoever, right, Monkey? None. Not a single intention of stop lossing at all for the share. Why? Because there should be a huge dividend eventually when they sell all the assets. And that dividend will be tens of dollars on up. It'll be more than what the stock is selling for right now. So why sell? Not a reason to sell. So I'm not setting any stop losses in there. I'm on it for the rocket ship or the dividend, one or the other. Chris R. ACME will soon melt some hedgies' faces, and I can't wait. Oh, man. It's going to be a long 2 weeks. I can tell you that much. Sad Boy Incorporated. Houston, I know it's risky, but I've been making weekly 3% portfolio gains by selling the money-covered calls when the price jumps every Monday. I mean, that's one way to do it. And if you do short sales, not short sales, you do a short-term covered call, weeklies or whatever, you can make some quick bucks off all that. So why not? You got hundreds of shares, and the stock price isn't going to go to $1,000 anytime soon. You can make some outlandish covered call sales. And when it's at the peak, you can make some much more expensive ones because the prices can go right back down again due to the volatility. Yeah, but you do run the risk. You do run the risk that you're wrong. The stock price does rocket. You lose all your shares and you miss the boat on the MOASS. That is the outside possibility. Someone from Oklahoma is calling. I don't know anyone from Oklahoma. Okay. Bill Cohen, Houston, tell us your thoughts when the market drop might come. I thought it would have happened by like this week. The only companies having any positive reports out there are oil companies. And last I checked, the S&P 500 is not made up entirely of oil companies. So why, if Amazon's not meeting their predictions, Apple's not meeting predictions, Facebook's not meeting predictions, Microsoft's not meeting predictions, Target, Walmart, Ford, GM, like no one is meeting any of their predictions. Why is this SPY at or near $400 still? No reason at all. I still think that William Morgan and I, we all thought that the Fed would kind of give up after the election, but they're not. They're still out there buoying the S&P 500, keeping it afloat. And I don't know how or why. Might be because there's still the Warnock-Walker runoff election in Georgia in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, somewhere around there. So, wait and see, man. Wait and see. But the housing is definitely getting worse. The news on housing is really bad. The car market is really bad. Yeah. Kendra Wilson, do puts cost same like shares? Puts are like opposite calls. So a call is a bet that the price of a stock is going to go up, and a put is a bet the price of a stock is going to go down. So when you purchase a call, you're purchasing the right to buy shares at a certain level. So you think the price is going to go above that, and you're going to be able to purchase here, and like all that's going to be profit. A put is the promise to sell a stock at a certain level. So if you think the stock price is going to go down, right? So let's say you're at $100, you think it's going to go down below 90, so you buy a put at 90, and that's somebody promising to buy the shares at $90 if the price gets lower than that. So your window will be that level below it. And the price on puts and calls depends on lots of things. Depends on when the expiration date is, how far away you are from the strike price, and how many people are trying to get them at that time. That's kind of the big three things, and how stable the stock is as well. So yeah. Craig Dubs, wait, I thought dates weren't dropped yet. Form 424. That I don't know. I don't know about that, Craig Dubs. I thought it started when it got approved, but so maybe dates have not been done yet. I'll have to look into that. Thank you for bringing it up. Form 424. Someone wants to do some searching for that. By all means. Matt Newton. Just call Fidelity to confirm they can locate preferred version of ACME. Wink, wink. Thanks, dude, and good luck. Hope it rockets. Woot woot. Me too. Oh, it'd be nice. Like, getting student loans off my back. Oh, that'd be great, wouldn't it? It just feels so relaxing. Unlike this very tight shirt I have on right now that just wants to explode. Okay. Where was I? All right, that was Bill Cohen. Paratarian. Given the iOS wallet release, earnings in a few weeks, after GME stated they're focused on profitability, crypto exchanges tanking for what brokers have been doing, you think MOASS by January? I'm curious to see when these like 100+ hedge funds that are all bankrupt from FTX. I mean, they're probably not the biggest hedge funds in the world. They're probably dealing with a lot of crypto because they're, bros. But I'm curious to see what their liquidation schedule looks like. Because if they're bankrupt, that's it. Their broker has to liquidate them, close as many positions as they can, and then liquidate their prime broker and close those and finish closing positions. So where are we on the closing of those positions? I don't know. They should be liquidated. Liquidate. And it seems like the reaction times for a lot of this stuff is been really slow. Much slower than it was in 08 when, the broker's like, well, time to sell everything you have and close your positions. This time around, they're like, oh, I'm really scared. I'm really scared to do this because I think they know exactly how much liability there is out there, and that basically the entire market is all liability right now. So, whether it happens by January, whether it happens by next week, I honestly don't know when they're going to get off their butts and do their regulatory jobs. I don't. I mean, I thought this would have happened April of last year. And here we are, going on 2 years later, and it has not happened yet. Cochinero Bamboyi. I have no idea if I said that right. Not to be a negative Nancy, but if ACME preferred share doesn't moon, when the shorts are obligated to buy the stock before a certain date, what real chance moon does GME have? Happy birthday. Good point. That is an excellent point. If this one, which is a forced buyer situation and never goes puny pop, then what are the chances any stock ever again goes puny pop? There's lots of folks who are making analogous to HKD, and we talked about in the past, but let's reiterate. So these Chinese stocks, they're the only successful IPOs we've had this year. There's been very little IPOs launched because of the state of the market's been in the lack of liquidity out there. But these Chinese stocks found a loophole and exploited it. And it's happened again and again and again and again with 6 or 8 of them. To the point where the SEC said, no more. We will not allow any more Chinese stocks to IPO. And what they do is they would say, okay, we're going to sell on the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ. We're going to sell our shares. We're going to have an IPO in the US market. They find the underwriter, might be like Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan or someone. And they find the underwriter. And the underwriter, they sponsor the IPO. And for sponsoring it, they get a whole bunch of shares that they can take and they can sell their friends and whatever. And so the company like HKD, they say, okay, we're going to sell 15 million shares. We're going to IPO 15 million shares on the NASDAQ. And we got ourselves Solomon Smith Barney or whatever to be our underwriter. And they get 5 million shares. And then we're going to sell the other 10 million to the market. Right? And so there's going to be 15 million shares out there. And what the underwriter does, they go, okay, hey, friend, you want some cheap shares for this IPO because we played golf together or squash or whatever? And they go, oh, yeah, I'll take some. So you promise them to that guy, promise them that guy, and you get a whole bunch of money. You get, some millions of dollars from it. Maybe billions if it's a really big IPO. But for this Chinese one, maybe, I don't know, 20 million bucks. The date of the IPO comes, it launches, and the Chinese company never provides the shares to anybody. They never actually give the 5 million shares to the underwriter. They never give the 10 million shares to the DTC so they can start allocating them via trades. They never give a single share. But there is already a record of 5 million owners of the share from the underwriter. And the underwriter now has a big, giant failure to deliver on the day of the IPO because they're supposed to give them this stuff ahead of time. And those folks are trying to sell it or buy it or do whatever, and there's no shares out there. And on the day of an IPO is pretty much the only day there is no circuit breaker for a stock. It can do whatever it wants on the day of the IPO. There's no oh, it rose too fast, too quickly, got to shut it off for 5 minutes and let it cool down, or it dropped too quickly, got to shut off for 5 minutes. There's no circuit breaker. So the stock price went from $15 to $2,500 in an hour. Because the underwriter had to buy out as many shares as they can to close positions. Because the shares didn't exist. They promised all these shares to people, and they didn't exist. They had to close those positions. And there was no circuit breaker to slow down the buying, and it went boom. So on the OTC, you also don't have any circuit breakers. So when the time comes, the push comes to shove, and you're on crunch time, the stock price can go absolutely nuts. Because there's no mechanism in place to go, all right, let's just cool off a little bit, take a minute, breathe deeply. No, it's just all panic, 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 and the price gets out of control. So that's what we're looking for. But if somehow they can get out of this, they can somehow magically avoid or maintain having a short position on a private company, I don't know how they would, then that's the new realm we're in, and I don't know what answer there is to that. Ooh, where was I? I missed a couple. Hazy. Would you recommend put calls or call puts? What? Hazy? I don't know what you're asking there. I mean, you can get puts and calls, and you can get calls and puts. But, I mean, you can hedge, you can get both. Is that what you're asking? Not quite sure what you're asking there, Hazy. Gurk's Ice Cream Danwich are my $25 cover calls, same like a $25,000 floor. No. Your $25 cover call means that if the price gets $25, all your shares get sold at $25. And then that's that. You made $2,500 and you have no more shares. So the price gets $25,000. You don't have any shares to sell at that point. And Craig Dubs, S1 is effective. Next steps: fill out form 424 to fill in the dates for the last S1 countdown. Starts once the form 424 is filed with the dates pasted. Okay. All right. So what we need is that 424 filled. So, okay. Has anyone at ACME filled that in yet? Anyone? I don't have Twitter to ask anymore. Twitter. Has anyone filed the 424? I don't know. I don't know, Craig Dubs. I don't know. Where was I? I lost my spot again. All right, there was that one. There was that one. And that one. Okay, so I need to go past this. And I went too far. And now I'm not far enough. Okay. That was Negative Nancy one. Jimmy likes eggs. Carl Icahn shorting GME, Bloomberg reported. Interesting. So why would Carl be shorting GME? He's apparently buddies with Ryan Cohen. I'd look that one up. Carl Icahn shorting GME. Billionaire investor Carl Icahn is betting against GameStop. Billionaire began shorting retailer during meme stock boom. GameStop has lost 71% of its value since January 21 high. And I can't read the rest of it because I don't have a thing there. I can't read the rest of it because I don't have a subscription. That's what Bloomberg is apparently reporting here. It's interesting that he met with Ryan Cohen then. What would that be all about? If Ryan hates short sellers, why is he meeting with Carl? Right, Monkey? Does your butthole taste really good right now? Huh? Hey. We got the whole world is watching, bud. The whole world is watching. And you're there just going to town in a beehole. Yeah, give it a break. Okay. Jade Ruckus just saying hi, Houston. Well, hi, Jade Ruckus. Rich Mutalik? Houston Roller Pigeon is calculating 280 million naked positions to close ACME. That equates 25 million a day to close, assuming 10 days until private. Do you think this seems accurate? Very possible. I have no idea what the previous iteration was shorted. Those folks, I don't know. Could be 1 billion shares, 500 million. I have no idea what the short position was prior to a merger to create the ACME preferred share. Monkey butt. What was the volume today? 2-day. That doesn't look like very much at all. Okay, so where is average volume 1.41 was today's volume. Tell me today's volume. Where is today's volume? I don't see you. I don't see you. I don't see you at all. We got average volume. Today's volume. Oh, for crying out loud. There you go. Yeah, I would like bounce around to like 5 different sites here to figure out what the volume was today. Get me there. Okay. No, go away. Average volume here is 800,000, not 1.4 million, like they said. And what was today's volume? Why has no one shown me the volume? Ah, 2.9 million. There we go. Found it. A tiny little lettering on the side. So they sold 2.9 million today. And my guess is a great deal of those were still shorted shares. So they've piled on their liabilities at this point. And 11.65 after hours. So right at close, $11.65 for the fictitious share ACME. Not at all the share I'm not supposed to talk about. But Do you know what interesting thing happened? Is that if you have an OTC stock that trades below $10, you can only set a limit order for sale to $15. After that, you can set limit orders to 500% the price of the stock if you're on something like Fidelity. So now the limit orders can now jump to a much higher level, not as high as I'd like it to see, but the game's afoot. Because if the stock price is at $9, you're trying to set a limit order for 50, they won't let you. You can only set it at 15. So here we go. Kelly Reed, GameStop wallet out for iOS. GameStop entering the finance biz bullish. Houston, do you think when a bunch of people get rich out of this, it will be a once-in-a-lifetime event? Well, yeah. That's why it's the mother of all short squeezes. That is what MOASS is all about. It is about retail pulling one over on the big guys for once. And so far, they've managed to drag it out as long as possible. This stuff we were talking about a year and a half ago was that their hope is to draw it out as long as possible and that we lose interest. And that's it. Like the longer we draw it, going, you know what, screw it. I can't wait anymore. I'm gonna sell what I have, take a nice vacation, just blah. That's what they're hoping for. So the longer it draws out, the more likely it is they can keep it from happening. But if we only invested, what we could afford and our lifestyle didn't change any, well, then we could sit back, relax, take a breather, and be just fine. Bex Houston, happy birthday. I've heard that in the ACME model, for shorts to close the set of shares going private, they also have to buy shares of the parent company. Help smooth bidding and understand. Well, that's to close entirely their position. Because let's say you are a company that gets merged, and the assets of the previous company get spun off into a preferred share, right? While also those shares becoming part of the new parent company. So that means if you were short prior to the merger on just the one company, and then they merge, spun off some preferred shares, you're short on those. But if those shares also became part of the parent company, you are now short on them as well. So if you're a company that was trading for $1 and you merged and your shares became part of that major company, but then everyone who had your shares prior to merger also got a piece of the old company in a holdings company, the short position is now short on both of those. Just like if you're short on AMC, you're also short on APE and AMC. So if you want to totally close your position, you got to buy both, one and the other. If, say, you want to just cover, then you just buy the preferred shares and you're covered for now. You've closed that preferred share position, but you haven't closed your total position because you still owe a bunch on the parent company as well. Bex can't post coordinates either. What is it about folks who can post coordinates and folks who can't? Interesting. That's why it's only a few of you who have been like chosen by YouTube to be allowed to post coordinates. That's weird. Bum, 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 bum. One eye. Houston, we can see clearly now the rain is gone. However, rain is made. Because it gets warm, air rises where it cools and condenses, forms clouds, and then it rains. That's how it's made. Angelo Torrenos, Houston, can you talk about that billionaire Carl Icahn possibly going to start closing out a short position on GME, and what would happen as a result? So that is the interesting question. So if Bloomberg is right, and Carl Icahn has a huge short position on GME where he's up 71%, right? Because he shorted when it was just stupid high. Basically shorted when it was like $400, right? He starts closing his position now. He's got to buy in. He's got to buy thousands or millions of shares in order to do that. So, how does Carl Icahn hedge against that? He goes out and he buys a shitload of calls. Just an obscene number of calls. Like, we're talking just millions of them. He takes a huge hunk of cash. He buys 1 million, 2 million, 10 million deep calls, and then he starts closing his position, right? Because the price can go up. And each time one of those things trigger, he can close out or make huge profit on those things. So he can do both. He can kind of sell those shares to himself almost in a way. So like, let's say he bought 1 million calls at $30, right? That would be 100 million shares, or a third of all of GameStop, right? And he starts closing. He starts closing positions, closing, and he closes out pretty much most of what he's got left, right? But he pushes the stock price above $30, and he keeps going a little bit. He keeps going, and maybe at $35, he might be close to being finished closing, maybe $40. Well, he starts triggering his call options because he can now make 25% profit at $40 on every single solitary call option he has. So he starts triggering those suckers one after another. Ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. Maybe he's got a few that are deep out of the money. Some that are like $100. And the stock price is flying now from gamma and delta hedging, because now like tens of millions of shares, 100 million shares, all of a sudden be purchased just to fill Carl Icahn's call orders. Now the dude made money twice, right? He closed his position. He made some profit off of that. Now he's triggering a huge gamma squeeze. He's making a friggin' pile of money off of that. It'd be pretty diabolical. All right, it makes you think. What would Carl do to hedge? And I think that's kind of what he can do. He can force a huge number of shares to get purchased. Carl, I like it. Do that. Maybe I should. I need MMTL and ACME to go zoom, and I can write on that as well. Okay. Dustin Height, Houston, looking stacked for his birthday stream. That's because I have to suck everything in to be able to keep this shirt from exploding at the moment. I mean, it is. We are like just falling apart here. It is wrong. You could get side nipple from me if I wasn't wearing a shirt underneath here. Okay, Lord Jameson, Houston, are you team blue and black or white and gold for the famous dress? I don't remember. I have to look at the dress again. Oops. Wikipedia. Apparently white and gold is what I am. As I'm looking at it, looks kind of white and gold to me. So white and gold rather than blue and black. I don't see the blue and black in there anywhere, but my eyeballs are terrible. And then the Laurel Yanni, I don't remember that one either. That was like the weird one where it was like kind of like a weird muffled staticky sound. You either said Laurel or Yanni. I don't remember which one I was on that one either. Because I think it did one of those things where if they put the words in front of you, you read and you heard whatever the word said. The Egyptian writer, I don't know if anyone noticed today or not, but for the first time in a while, Knight did not trade this today. Huh? I don't know what you're asking there. Quan S. Houston, does shorts have to cover... sorry. Houston, does shorts have to be covered by hedge funds? Will the squeeze still expected to happen if they decide not to cover? The squeeze is regardless of whether they decide to or not. That is kind of not up to them. The squeeze is when they're forced to close. So if they don't have the money to close, they're not going to close. And someone else has to reach in, take all their assets, and close for them. And that's when the squeeze happens. Mitch Wiley, Houston, what is your degrees background, if you don't mind me asking? I have undergraduate degrees in geography, geology, and astrophysics. I have minors in mathematics, physics, earth and space science, biology, and political science. And then I've got masters in astrophysics and in space studies. And I'm currently on a very long path to get a master's in history. So those are my fields of study. Squamsk! Buy some snacks on the Squamps. Well, thank you, Squamps. I will buy some snacks while writing with a pen with a cat butt on it. Thank you, my man. I still have chocolate from Scott Chocolate. I need to... That chocolate's going to last me a while. There's a lot of it there. And dark chocolate from Meow Meow as well. I haven't seen Meow Meow in a while. Where was I? That was Mitch. Maria Garcia is able to pick up another 163 shares of Fidelity. They're still allowing buying. Yep, if you're going to buy anything that's ACME related, you got to call and get a broker assist to do it. They want the assist. Ecology, Matt Kors used your name today. Used to be a problem. Matt, every once in a while, used to stop by in the chat. I haven't seen him in a while. But, all right. Ideas matter, 7707. Houston, realistically, how long will it take Camber Energy CEI turned around? The stock is at 11 cents and still in a slow downward slide. I have no idea. They're shorted by Kerrisdale. Kerrisdale sued them because the stock price wasn't high. So we're going to sue you for not having a high stock price, which is one of those things they do with their Pomerantz law firm buddies. I don't know. CEI. Let's go CI and see what their no. Blink. That's what I'll look at. Yeah, they're down to 11 cents. That bounced around a bit. So they've been as high as they're one of those companies that had a huge giant split of their shares. So like one share today could have had the equivalent of like $180 million or something. So they did a gigantic split into like tens of thousands of little shares. But, they've been as high as $1 2 years ago. And so they were $1 February of 2021. They'd get up to $1.40. They've been at 71 cents in February of this year, and then it's just been a slide downhill ever since. But they got some news. They've got a subsidiary of theirs making some ozone technology for treating medical waste. They got, I think the New York Stock Exchange said they're going to get delisted unless they get their price up. So they have to do. My guess is they might do a reverse split if that's the case. They'll do a reverse split, pull in some shares, get above $1, and then try to figure it out from there. So, but beyond that, I have no idea what's happening behind the scenes as far as that goes. All right, I lost my place again. I'm always losing my place. I like to lose my place constantly, and then spend 20 seconds trying to figure out where I was again. Kevin Turner, did you watch Eric Moore's video on Sears? I have not watched it yet. It was like an hour-long video, and I watched the Ryan Cohen one instead. So I'll get to Eric Moore's. I'm not sure what he's talking about. They won't give me a little synopsis. I know that recently posted to Reddit was about filings and their restructuring for liquidation, which might suggest that we're going to get some scratch out of it, which would be lovely. Yogi. And Matt, PR department. We had an excellent day. Drops a super and say thanks to Houston. Jim Ryan, did you ever look through those children's books that RC is selling? He actually is selling books? I thought it was just a meme. No, I've not looked through those books at all. That guy, would you ever do another interview with Girk? Sure. Why not? Diana Ape Mama, is Acme a lithium company? That is not who I'm talking about at all. I am not talking about a lithium company. I'm not talking about an actual company called Acme. Acme is a placeholder for a fictitious stock that I'm talking about. And that's it. It does not represent a lithium company in any way, shape, or form. Okay, now we're having a conversation here. I can pass the conversation. Parataran, Boss Blunt's anti-DRS nonsense was heavily debunked on Superstonk by multiple mods and DD writers. Gotta love you, bud, but your anti-DRS stance is confusing someone as smart as you. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't. Like, there hasn't been a single argument about DRS that has shown me, like, oh, I should probably just drop everything and do that. The only argument I get from people is, you have to. And I ask them, why? And they say, because if we lock up the entire float, they can't short anymore, which is total bullshit. They can short as much as they want. So all you've done now is you made it really hard to sell your stock when a squeeze comes. And the price has only gone down. So we have not seen DRSing or moving liquidity from the market as resulting in the price increase everyone was promising. Instead, the price has dropped a lot, like 67% since the DRSing push began. So if it can't keep them from shorting and it doesn't make the price go up, then why are we doing it? And if we've shown again and again and again and again that the mods of these Reddit groups are so easily bought, then why are they all of a sudden for it? Like, they've gotten bought out so many times to promote the dealings of the hedge funds, and yet, they're like, oh, you DRS everything. It hasn't done any good. It hasn't done jack shit. It hasn't done squat. So, why bother? I don't have any like. I don't want to spend the extra money to do it. I don't want to have to open up another brokerage account that was like its website was written like it was 1997. I don't want to deal with the extra fees and the pain in the assness. It just isn't worth it. So you guys DRS all you want. Do whatever you want. Follow that rainbow. I don't care. It hasn't done anything at all. It's done nothing. And all we've had is the price go down ever since. So, it doesn't seem worth it. Anthony Frontera, Houston miss you on Twitter. Do you think there's any correlation between Citadel getting FICA bailout protection and the timing of ACME's filing? No, I don't think there's any magical connection there. I think Citadel always wanted to have the ability to get bailed out because they know what a shit show they have, and they need them Fed dollars to survive, and so that's what they're on. Decatur Raw, Houston, you said Monkey Butt murdered some coyotes for real. What kind of dog is she to murder wild dogs? She is a Catahoula leopard dog mixed with Whippet. Catahoula leopard dogs are half French Greyhound and half Red Wolf. And then the Whippet's thrown in there. She's crazy fast. Her breed, as small as she is designed to take down 400-pound wild boar. She does a crazy thing where she gets the creature running, and she runs up next to them because she's faster than them, and she dives under their body and grabs the far leg and pulls, and that starts getting them rolling, and then she pounces on top of them and just rips them to shreds. It's pretty crazy to watch. Or I should say, I've seen her do it to other animals, like at the dog park. I've only heard her do it to something in the forest, then come back just covered in blood. So she's a little monster. And you're getting up there though. You're 7 years old now. I don't know how many more years you have to be a badass. And she's giving me like a little side eye. She's like, don't you dare say that I don't have it in me anymore. But her and Snoopy were quite the team. They really did a number on a pack of coyotes. Like maybe the second month I had Snoopy. Yeah. Snoopy's designed to like take on wolves, protect flocks of sheep and stuff. Okay. Citizen 54, what is a quantum computer and how are they supposed to work? Oof. Okay. A quantum computer is a computer that essentially maps all probability by the fact the electron can be pretty much anywhere. That's the best explanation I ever got. And that if you have several electron states in several different processors, you can kind of cover all your bases. That's the best example I've ever been given. Beyond that, I don't know. So you're looking at the quantum states of matter to do your processing. And that's all I know. You need somebody as a nuclear physicist to go beyond that for you. Because all I know is that there's lots of different possible probable positions of an electron. And if you somehow cover all your bases, then you got them all. And that's why they're going to like rip through, 1048-bit encryption and stuff. Whoop. Whoop. Drew Saul. Haven't DRS my shares because I want to quickly reallocate my capital to other stocks. I have a few in DRS, but that quick turnaround is key. That's kind of key for me too, is that the goal is you make bank, you buy something else that's down here, and then you make bank again. And that's, you got to make it on both sides of the volatility. So if you make your bank and the SPY hasn't fallen yet, then you can buy a whole bunch of puts in the SPY, that drops, make a bunch of money. Then you buy a bunch of calls in the SPY, or buy a bunch of blue chips, and then goes right back up again. Being able to like quickly react, especially when, something like MOASS is going to just be tearing through everything. That's a really good point, Drew Saul. Very good point. Christopher bursts out, stop crying about Elon. WTF. Elon sucks. I will keep talking about how much Elon sucks until you all go, all right, you're right, Elon does suck. Because he does. He's a sucky dude. If Elon had been born poor, none of us would have ever heard of him. He has never run a profitable company. He got fired from PayPal because of the compounding problems with their website, and he had no business plan. So like, get out. You're not making any money. So he got out. And then the company made money. He's never made a profit at any of his other companies. They've been bought out. He makes money off of getting investment. That's it. He gets people to invest in his companies, and then they never make any money. So, that to me isn't necessarily a successful capitalist. That's somebody who can grift. And he's blown up $44 billion over at Twitter as we speak, which is not the hallmark of somebody who's making a lot of money. And his Chancery court case might result in him losing $56 billion. So think about $100 billion in 1 month is where he could be right now. After losing already $100 billion over the last year from Tesla stock dropping, Elon sucks. He does. He's a shitty employer, treats his employees really poorly, keeps getting sued for making really racist, problematic manufacturing plants. He lies about his products. He claims like he was about to have an investor revolt over the profitability of Tesla. And so like the night before, he had a render made up of a house with shingles, photovoltaic shingles all over the house. He's like, look at our new product. Well, the product never existed. It was just something he presented to the investors last minute to get them all stoked. And since then, they've done nothing about making those products. The Boring Company that he created to make this Hyperloop, this vacuum chambered thing that can fire you from Los Angeles to New York in 30 minutes or whatever, he admitted he created specifically to kill mass transit so more people would drive. So whenever someone's like, you know what, let's build a high-speed rail from Sacramento to San Diego, you want to go, no, my Hyperloop will do that faster. And so then people stop trying to build the high-speed rail, and then he never builds the Hyperloop. And when he did actually like make sort of a Hyperloop, it was just some Teslas to drive underground in really dangerous tunnels that didn't have egress or fire suppression. So, that isn't the hallmark of a good person. He's kind of a shitty dude. He lied about his college degrees. He never got a physics degree. He tells everyone, oh, I got a physics degree. No, he didn't. Matter of fact, he dropped out of college and didn't have any of his degrees. And when Peter Thiel was first investing in him, they discovered that he didn't have any college degrees and was in the country illegally. He was here without an active visa because he was here on a student visa, that they basically bribed the Wharton School to give him an economics degree. Like, just give him a degree so we can at least give him an H-1B visa as an employee. And they're like, all right. So they did. And he never got a physics degree like he told everyone. He said he went to Stanford for a PhD program, then dropped out for a couple of days to start his company. He never applied to Stanford. There's no record of him having ever applied to Stanford. So, he's just a grifter, man. He's a very, very, very successful grifter. but he's a grifter nonetheless. And eventually, all that flim flam's going to come tumbling down. And you guys will be on here and be like, all right, fine. You were right, Houston. We were wrong. Sorry. And a lot of you I've been messaging like, you know what? I was an Elon fan last year, and then I looked into it. I'm like, oh, he is a piece of shit. He is. Elon sucks. And I'll talk about it forever. And I'll watch my viewer numbers drop, and I'll just keep talking about it. And then, that'll be the future. Okay. John Crampton, Twitter will just be fine. It's not going anywhere. It'll be the best company ever. No. Okay. You want the list? Want the list of Twitter's problems right now? Okay, we talked about they have no payroll. They have no accounts payable. Okay, so they can't pay server farms. The vendors aren't going to get paid. Whatever. They fired most of their moderation team. So there's no one moderating right now. The DCM people, the digital copyrights people aren't there. So like entire movies been getting posted to Twitter all weekend with nothing happening to the folks who are posting these entire movies, which means Disney's going to sue the hell out of you. You don't want to face a Disney lawsuits for digital rights fuck-ups. They no longer have any of the contractors maintaining the CSAM regulations, which are the child safety regulations. So if you do not make sure that like children aren't being exploited or trafficked or have other horrible things happen to them, have access to like unlimited pornography and whatever else, then other companies are going to not be allowed to do business with you. So whoever hosts your servers won't be allowed to host your servers. The Google Play Store, the Apple App Store, they'll have to close your program. They no longer have anyone in compliance with FTC consent decree, which protects privacy of users. And when Facebook failed in their consent decree, they were fined $5 billion. Twitter will probably be fined more than that because this will affect more people, and they'll want to make an example of them. There's no one left. There's a whole team of lawyers making sure that the products that came out of Twitter met the privacy standards, and there's no one doing that now. Matter of fact, Elon told the engineers like self-certify that they're compliant. Well, there's evidence from the blue check fiasco that he had that there was no compliance whatsoever. Anyone paid $8, got a blue check, and they took down tens of billions of dollars in corporate value by fake tweeting as if they were official sites. That's going to lead to giant lawsuits. When Elon laid everybody off, he violated California's labor laws. So he's facing probably billions of dollars in lawsuits there. Plus, if those folks don't get their severance because there's no one left in payroll, they're going to get sued again for violating their severance clauses. When Elon laid people off in Ireland and in France, wherever else, they're violating EU labor laws. So he's getting sued huge there for that as well. He's being sued for violating the Americans with Disabilities Act, for requiring everyone to come into the office and work or else they're fired. What else? The teams who are responsible for database management, they're basically down to like one dude from teams of 50. So there's no quick response from any engineer for any problems that happen. So problems can cascade. You can get a hard drive that fills up too much, and all of a sudden that will overflow into all the hard drives across the server, and you have no response team that can take care of it. Bots are out of control. Before I got kicked off, I was getting probably 50 DMs a day from either pretty ladies trying to get me to give them my bank account number, or from scammers trying to get into my crypto wallets or convince me that I can make $1,000 a day doing whatever weird marketing thing they had. That stuff went up tenfold in just the last couple of weeks. Twitter's facing a lot. They've lost $3 billion in advertisers. They now have $1.75 to $2 billion a year in interest they got to pay on Elon's loans. So that's $5 billion out. For a company that had been making $6 billion a year in total sales, they're now down to making $3 billion a year, and which means they're losing another 3 on top of that. Plus, only 61,000 people wanted the Twitter blue check, which comes out to about $6 million a year in revenue, actually less than that. So Elon torched $3 billion a year in advertisers to make $6 million a year back. off of his campaign to get everyone to pay $8. Whoops. No, Twitter's toast. It's absolutely toast, and they're not going to be able to hire enough people fast enough at that company to do anything because there's no one left in HR, man. How are you going to interview a bunch of candidates to take those jobs if A, you're not going to be able to give them stock options? Company's private, there's no stock options anymore. And B, there's no one even on board those folks. You got to take them through not just interview processes, like 3 or 4 interviews, but you have to, give them tests, give them puzzle solving tests. You have to figure out where their strengths are, what they need help with programming. And the big problem is moderating, is that if you got a website that's not well moderated, the rest of the advertisers are going to pull out as well. And then you'll have ads like you have on Facebook now, which are just garbage ads. They're like scams. They're like, hey, you can buy this entire Tough Shed for $99 if you pay now. And then all the comments are like, I bought this like 4 months ago. My Tough Shed was never delivered. Because they're scams, man. They're all scams. And real advertisers don't want to advertise with a bunch of scammers. They're going to pull out. Twitter's toast. I don't think it can be saved, honestly. Okay. But it was fun to be on there while watching this all fall apart. John Crampton, folks that left Twitter didn't do anything anyway. Ugh. I love when people say stuff like that. They were literally doing things. Like, signing the paychecks for all the other employees. I think those folks did something. They were moderating. They were working under the specific legal framework of the FTC consent decree, which required X number of employees to monitor all these different products that are being made and make sure that privacy laws are maintained. They were working for the EU's GRPA, whatever that thing is, GDPRA. Their online privacy. Like, those folks literally did things. They had folks that were managing entire server farms, and they've quit. So if you don't have the guy sitting there making sure the servers are running properly, who's going to make sure the server's running properly? All it takes is one Stack Overflow. And then cascades across the entire network. And no one figures out why. Or the dude who, has got some box, some Mac Mini that's running one piece of code that's sitting under someone's desk. And it's the entire linchpin that the whole thing is dependent upon. And you either fired that guy or made it so uncomfortable for him to work there that he left. And now someone's going to come along like, well, this office is empty. Let's start unplugging things. If they're going to unplug that one little Mac Mini, and the entire thing's going to go down because one little batch file that was stored on that thing is keeping the entire network afloat. Tech environments are built upon thousands of little tiny sticks keeping the foundation up. And you pull one of those suckers, the entire thing can come down. So, he lost some of the most competent engineers in their field, and they did not care. They were on Twitter going like, fuck you, Elon. You need me more than I need you. And Elon's like, well, you're fired. And then his higher-ups are like, dude, you shouldn't have fired that person. Like, they literally keep everything running. And that person now has 500 job offers at every other tech company in the world. Why? Because all those tech companies hate Elon's guts. And they would rather have somebody who's good at their job and can tell you what's right and wrong than have somebody who will like, yes, sir, and Elon. So, screw that. That's what I have to say. Okay. I'm going to calm down. Calm down on the Elon front. You guys all know. You've heard this tirades 50,000 times by this point. Okay. Daniel, Phil, how many species of freshwater fish in Hawaii? I have no idea. That's something to ask the old oracle. How many species of freshwater fish in Hawaii? 5. There are only 5 native freshwater fish species found in Hawaii. Okay. They're all part of the goby family. It's the family known as sleeper goby. Well, there you go. Meow Meow, do you think Citadel is going to delay financials to avoid withdrawals? Ooh, because I think Citadel might be at the point where if they post another negative quarter, all of their requirements on like, oh, you can only withdraw up to 6% per year or whatever, that stuff's out the window. Because there's federal laws about hedge funds that if they post, I think it's 3 or 4 negative quarters in a row, that their members can pull out all their money. I think it's like mine. And we saw, and I will crystal ball this one. I had called sometime in the spring or summer that this November was when a whole bunch of hedge funds are going to have giant withdrawals of assets by their clients. And withdrawals are through the roof right now. They are pulling out money like crazy because all these hedge funds have been posting negative quarters, too many quarters in a row, and they can pull out whatever they want now. So, Meow Meow, you might be right. The Citadel might delay their financials to avoid withdrawals, but they're just delaying the inevitable because they know what their numbers were, and they know that that's going to mean that their special clients are going to take out all their money. So that's a good point. It's a very good point, Meow Meow. Julianne, I still think Atlantis was on the island of Santorini and was built on the volcano. When traders came back, there was a caldera beneath the waves. Traders would have thought it sunk. Yeah, that could happen. When was Santorini's last big explosion? I mean, Santorini, the fact that it's at sea level would mean that when it erupted, it would have sent tsunamis around the entire Mediterranean, and you would have heard it like 5 times. Santorini volcano. Santorini caldera. Here we go. Bam. And turn you. Go there. Go there. Go there. And go there. All right. So this is the Santorini caldera. This guy here. Ta-da. There we go. There's some pixels. So there's a tiny little cinder cone island in the middle there. But yeah, this island blew up. And we've seen these islands blow up in the past. Hunga Tonga did it recently. Krakatoa did it. So, geology, volcanology. All right. Last eruption 1950. And we want a big one. Okay. 1610 BC, central vent eruption, regional fissures, submarine option, explosive eruption, pyroclastic flows, surges, sense physical damage, mountains of lava flows. Okay, that could have done it. 1610 BC. That would be enough to have blown up that sucker. And that would have sent waves all over the place. And then we've had smaller ones since then. Island formation, mega tsunamis, yeah. So this is probably the one where the giant landslides, big old sucker blew up and went nuts. So that's probably the one. So that's a good theory there, Jennifer. Excellent theory. Boom. All right, where was that question? Freshwater fish one. Sorry, Julianne, not Jennifer. Julianne. I'm sorry. My brain can remember a name for about 5 seconds. Liberty Bibbity. Houston, where are you investing your ACME winnings? I mean, it depends on what it goes for in the end. But it'll probably be a little array. I'll probably invest in the parent company with shares and with options just to see where that goes. I'll definitely get to my 1,000 shares of GME, which is a goal of mine to have. I'll probably buy some DRV calls, maybe for next summer, or maybe leaps all the way out to January of 2024. I'll punch my desk. I'll probably do SPY puts. And then I might put the rest into something that's kind of a little more stable with a chance to grow, like No Labs and GMGMF, sorry. Just because the stock price is really low, they got tech that could be booming, and then you get a big old pop from that. And, you know, if anything else, the stock price is going to drop much further from where it is now. So it's kind of a good, solid buy for the moment and sit and wait. So that's probably the areas I'm going on. Paratarian Houston, which is superior choice, tacos or pizza? Both are highly versatile. Both are top of tier food choices and cheap. Venn diagram if needed. I will take tacos over pizza, honestly. Even though my friend owns a pizza restaurant and I go help out there a few times a month, and it's delicious. If given the opportunity, like someone's like, "Hey, you want this pizza or you want this mess of tacos?" I'm probably gonna go towards the tacos. I don't know, just I like the flavor profile more in tacos, and I'm not gonna turn down a pizza if it's given to me. I like eating pizza too, but I lean more towards tacos. Armand Morin, could Ape T90 be trading days, putting it December 28th? Yeah. If not, it'd be tomorrow, right? Tomorrow would be T90 for Ape if it isn't trading days, if it's just calendar days. We'll see tomorrow. There was not much reaction today. I have no idea if Adam Aaron has sold more and just hasn't reported it yet. But right now, it doesn't seem to be doing much, if anything. Liberty Houston, do you think the Acme squeeze would cause the end of naked shorting? No. The end of naked shorting will be caused by the SEC and Congress banning it entirely. And that type of law is going to have to be so punitive that no one will even chance it unless they're like super criminals who can get away with it before anyone realizes what happened. It's going to have to be like you sell a share and don't deliver, you're going to jail. And if your broker doesn't report it, they're going to jail. Stuff like that. It needs to be brutal. It needs to be absolutely painful so that no one even bothers. Scott Paulin, Houston, you seem to have a pretty spotty understanding of DRS. I'll see if I can fill in some information gaps. Everyone's tried. No one's filled any information gaps for me to my satisfaction yet to make it worth my while. I like being able to sell something and then use that money to buy something else like that. And I can't do that in computer share. I can't. And I got to pay a $25 commission. And, you know, if I want to sell it for a pile of money, they have the right to not sell it. And then I got to send them a letter in the mail, right? I got to put a stamp on it, send them a physically written letter in the mail saying, please, can you sell my stock for this much money? And who knows how long it takes that to process. They had said like, hey, you can set your limit orders to $10 million or whatever. And then after a while, like, no, you can't. The broker won't let us anymore. So they're listening to the brokers just as much as anyone else. I just don't see any good reason to do it. Liberty Bibbity Houston, I heard shorts in the original Torch shares. Does it make a difference if you own the original shares or shares bought after became tradable? No. It will split between what it became and what spun off. And they'll have to get those to close those positions. If they made nakeds, they got to close those too because you can't have any naked shares when it goes private. Where was I? Sorry, the whole chat just reset again. And now I've got to scroll back up. And there we go. Okay. All right. Matt Newton, did you quit Twitter or get suspended? Got suspended. Elon was seeing my tweets as abuse of Elon, and my account got suspended. Okay. Scott Paul, you said doesn't know about wealth management because he never had to manage wealth. DRS exists for insiders. That's why it's there. That's the whole point of DRS, is for insiders. Because insiders need access to their shares so that they can maintain their positions in their companies. Right? They're insiders. They can't sell quickly. They have to file notices when they're going to sell, and they have to be able to give like a 30-day notice that they're going to sell stock and things like that, or buy more. And so DRS exists so that those shares cannot be lent out by a broker, and therefore they can maintain control of their shares and have their voting path for it from there. Beyond that, it's being used now as a way of getting paper shares like you used to have. Back in the day, you trade stocks before the fast system. Literally, there was couriers taking piles of shares from broker to broker, depending on what the trade was happening. They created the fast system to just do that electronically. There's a main ledger held at the DTCC, and that electronically establishes the ownership of these shares back and forth. You don't need those messengers. You don't need the physical paper shares going around anymore. But for a while, you could request paper certificates. They'd remove those shares from the computer, have them on paper certificates, and you could get them. It would cost like $25 a share to process, so usually wasn't that good. And the last time someone did that process, they removed all the shares from the market via purchase, moved the entire float, got the paper shares. 60 million shares still traded the next 2 days. So removing shares from the fast system does not stop people from creating fake shares inside the fast system and selling them. And you can wave the flag to the SEC all you want, and they don't care. They never have cared. They're not going to care. The only thing they're going to care about is if the entire system collapses at some point, and it's not going to be DRS that does it. It's going to be a cascading mountain of liabilities, crashing one hedge fund after another. And that's the only thing that's going to bring it down. So whether you're DRS or not, that won't change the fact that at some point there's going to be a liquidity crisis amongst the banks and hedge funds, and it's all going to come down. You don't need DRS to do that. Meow meow. Do you think Acme and parent company might rip at the same time? I think they're ripping right now, personally. I mean, one was up like 35%, the other one was up 30%. Not too shabby. Where was parent company at today? Yeah, 30%. Not too shabby at all. Was up 36% at one point today. But I think it's all FOMO at the moment. I don't think it is anything other than FOMO happening across the board. DVS all of a sudden they're in the news is all over the place about Icahn being short GME. They love to have news like this out to justify runs. Looking good for OPEX T+2. So excellent. We got a weird short trading week, and things always happen on weird short trading weeks as well. Turncoat, what if Elon buys out GME and we squirt? Elon doesn't have any cash to do that. Elon's got no money. He had to sell off $4 billion in Tesla the other day just to keep Twitter afloat because they have no revenue. So you don't have to sell off a whole bunch of Tesla to do anything with GME. I don't think he's got the cash. And the Tesla board investors are getting pretty tired of him selling off his shares to do like other weird things and destroy their brand. Um, and if the 56 billion in stock has to be given back, he might be over leveraged at that point. Hasten would give you that shirt at the King Kamehameha Club. It might have been this would definitely fit Rick. You guys know Rick from Magnum PI. He's a little guy. It sure would have fit him just fine. MG, nice shirt, Houston. My wife always thinks I'm watching porn on PC. I told her no, that would be the SEC. She was puzzled. That's why we don't make any money on stocks. I'm a closet ape. Spiked head die crack. Will the future lack of catalytic converters have any impact on the price of platinum? I think so. Because beyond being used for catalytic converting, platinum's used in some jewelry, a few electronics, but not enough, I think, to really make much of a dent in demand. If you guys don't know what a catalytic converter is, so you make a weird, very thin wire mesh of platinum group metals, and when you pass certain particulates through that material, like in the exhaust line of your car, it can oxidize out bad pollutants. So it's a way of filtering out pollutants. And because this wire mesh is like a freakish amount of surface area for how many wires there are, you can take a lot of pollutants out over a long period of time with that vehicle. And if we're switching to electric cars, we won't need catalytic converters in these things because they won't be producing the same amount of particulates. So the largest purchaser of platinum group metals are car manufacturers to make these catalytic converters. And that's why meth heads love to steal them, because they can have hundreds or thousands of dollars in platinum inside that you can break down through an acid process and get out. We saw platinum prices crash really hard during the 2008 financial crisis due to the plummeting in the number of vehicles that are being manufactured. So prior to that, platinum groups like rhodium was insanely high and then just fell off a cliff. And like palladium had gotten down to like $200 an ounce. Platinum was down to like 500 after being at almost 2,000. And then prices went back up again when car manufacturing picked up. Guardian car stereo. Houston hurts Elon. Marduk the meta guy. Houston, no. In order for a legacy short to close, they have to close dividend. Remember, the only way to get divvy was to buy Torch. They have to close 0.5 metamaterial to close their Series A. No. In order for a legacy short to be closed, same thing there. Well, I mean, they also need to close out the naked ones because they can't have those ones going as well. So they have to close out nakeds as well. Tampa Bay Buckeye. Houston, what do you think was Citadel's strategy in joining FICC in quick fashion, effective 11/2? Bailout strategy? Yes. I think that's exactly what it is. Because otherwise, they had no other access to bailouts. Online Entity can post coordinates. So let's see where Online Entity is taking us. Where are we going? Where are we going, my man? I can't find one to turn on. There we go. going south. We're going bam. Oh, God damn it. Why did I not pick up on that? My brain did not even acknowledge the fact they were going 11 degrees west, which should send off alarm bells in my head, and did not. Good job, Online Entity. Good job. No double intro for you guys today, but I'm an idiot, and I just slapped you right in the freaking cryptovolcanic structure that's known as the Eye of Africa. I was so excited somebody else was able to post. I didn't even bother looking at what I was. I could filter out that. Okay. Alexander Hakeem, Houston. Let's say ACME still trades below the possible dividend on their last day to close. On the next Monday, will we be able to sell, or the trading will be stopped for all? The trading will be stopped for all. It'll be a private company, and that'll be it. So if they manage to close without ever having the price going above what a potential dividend would be, then that's the price it goes for, and you're holding for the dividend at that point. So, yeah. Dan Marshall, Houston, go to the gym. It's time to start getting ready for summer. Yes, it is. I do need to go back. I've been very bad this month. And reset again. Quit resetting, you chat. Okay. I just lost. Looks like about 15 minutes of the chat. I apologize. I'm now at 429 on the chat. Okay. J-Dog, pie versus cheesecake for Turkey Day. I don't know if I've ever had cheesecake on Turkey Day, although I do enjoy cheesecake more than I do pie. Not that I hate pie. It's like that pizza taco question. If presented with a pumpkin pie or sweet potato pie or a pecan pie and presented with, say, a chocolate cheesecake, I'm probably going to eat the chocolate cheesecake. I know it's heavier. I know it's worse for me. I know it's clogging me up. But I'm going to pick that cheesecake over pie. I just cake in general over pie. I like bready things. Anthony Wilson 3. They said on Twitter you're a busboy. Is this true? Not a knock. Just curious. No, I am not a busboy. I have worked in restaurants. I've worked in bars. I've served. I've worked in the kitchens. I've done all that stuff. But no, I'm not a busboy. I still help out my friend's restaurant quite often because there's no one to work right now, and they beg, and I go, all right. So that's what I do. But no, I'm not a busboy. There's a lot of talk about squirting going on here. Girl 69XYZ is in the house. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, you gotta donate. Gotta donate on Charity Tuesday, which will be next week. Next week is Charity Tuesday. We're gonna be doing our raising money for Toys for Tots. So I'll see you guys next Tuesday. We're gonna raise money for Toys for Tots for Christmas season, and we're going to get those kids lots of toys. And hopefully, we're gonna have some rocket ships powering a hell of a number of donations this year. We're gonna do it real well for them Toys for Tots. Lap 27, Holston, I have 1,000 for tomorrow. What would you do? 1,000 for tomorrow. Monkey butt. What do you think? 1,000 for tomorrow. DVS talking about OPEX happening. You know, that news Carl Icahn looking to close out, and you know that dude's playing something weird and dirty. It might take a while to get any cash settled for you to make any play on ACME. So right now, GME's sitting at like $25. It's looking real tasty right now. So perhaps some deep out of the money calls or shares themselves on that sucker. Yeah. David Pierce, 1,000 tomorrow. I'd sell all. Life changing my freedom. Yes. Okay. Squamps, do a stream with Kirk and title it Snuggle Time Ranch. We'll make a stream card for it. A little pickle tickle in the Snuggle Time Ranch. Okay. Preedom, I'm going to butcher this last name. Bhattacharjee? RC is selling books. Looks like he is starting a company called Teddy. Another company related to Teddy that is listed as a bank. Things are getting weird. Well, he did have that meme of the teddy bear that looked like it was jerking off, and it turned around. It was just mixing a drink. I mean, heck, when you're rich like him, you just start doing stuff. So, you know, gotta diversify and keep things interesting, I guess. Scott Pollen cracking me up. Okay. Anthony Wilson, is it true you're actually a busboy? Who asked that question? You asked that one. No. But why keep asking it? I don't know why. Okay. Savage Randy, the original subreddit Acme went private a couple weeks ago, and Mod probably got paid by Hedge. That happens a lot. I mean, a great get rich quick scheme, I guess, is to make a financial subreddit, get a whole bunch of people jumping in there, and then just get an offer from a hedge fund. We should probably all be doing that. That'll be our MOASS, is starting subreddits, getting them popular, and then getting paid off. And that will be how we all retire. Scott Paul in Houston has not studied advanced statistical methods, nor does he work in finance. Make of that what you will. I have studied advanced statistical methods. Not only that, I have taught advanced statistical methods. I have not worked in finance, though. You got that part right. But when it comes to mathematics, I've done almost all of it. Basically, I was about 3 classes away from a degree in mathematics. So I've done every level of mathematics you can imagine. Real analysis, number theory, every level statistics, differential, partial differential, Euclidean, non-Euclidean, linear algebra, you name it. I've done it all. So I've done advanced statistical methods. Okay. Squamp's quantum computer is like a human brain. Squirrels, Ren and Stimpy, processed meats, Magna Carta, all those things can be thought about before it makes a calculation. That's kind of what I get from quantum computing. It's like, these are all states of matter. Everything exists. You wink, there's the answer. That's just kind of the magic that seems to run on. How you program one, I have no idea. Not a clue. Raven, good night, Houston. Thanks for not answering anything I asked. Well, where'd you ask something, Raven? I don't see Raven. I'm scrolling up. Oh, there's one that's all emojis. I've got ACME, $, something didn't show up, something didn't show up, something didn't show up, something didn't show up, a share plus last days before going private. And that's not a question. Okay. That was just a bunch of emojis. Raven, emojis. I set my sell order at emoji. On E-Trade for ACME, think it will hit, wink twice, Houston. I don't know what the emojis are. So, because the emojis aren't showing up on my computer end, I just see boxes. I see a $, a bunch of boxes, and a plus symbol. Which really thinks you put some numbers in there, and you mean the numbers are higher than that? I might need to just type it out, because I can't tell what those boxes are. Could be 100? 999? I don't know there, Raven. I'm sorry. I think the reason why I didn't answer is because I didn't know what those emojis were supposed to be. So I apologize. I apologize if that offended you. And then Iggy Limon, he's probably over an hour behind the chat. I am exactly an hour behind the chat. I'm 45 minutes because I missed about 15 minutes of the chat last time I reset. So, oh, Kendra Wilson, do farts push poo or does poo push the farts? The muscles in your bowels are what pushes the poo. Although you can get some back pressure from the farts to push stuff out, which is where sharding comes from. But for the most part, most farts are eking past all the poo and getting out that way. A great book to read is Everyone Farts, or Everyone Poops. Sorry, they talk about how it all works there, Kendro. But you can get some blockage. You got some extra special goobers in there that aren't willing to get out. You can get quite bloated. So you'd be puffy like I am inside of this shirt right now. Chicken or egg, right, monkey? Right? Yeah. That's exactly right. Pronto. Multiple people have tried selling on computer share using limit and it went through in minutes. Not a good argument against DRS, but I respect your choice. No one has been able to sell anything on DRS when the price is a cajillion dollars. That's the test. And all the language from computer share was that any sale of any collection of securities over 250,000 required a handwritten letter seeking permission to sell on their platform. They've changed some of that language since then, and they managed to let you set limit orders really high before taking that away. And now you can only set limit orders for like 5% more than the current price, which does not bode well in a situation of when things are rocketing, that you can only set the limit orders at a smidgen of a price. And we know that setting limit orders or putting things into DRS does not actually take away from liquidity as was charged, because when the limit prices were set at like $10 million, and that removed share liquidity from the market, and that's what the brokers told Computershare to stop doing. The prime broker, especially Bank of America, said you can't do that anymore, and so they are beholden to Bank of America over you as a shareholder any day. And I just dropped the little thing I was messing with. Okay. So I don't think it really accomplishes what people think it's going to accomplish. They're still beholden to their prime broker. They're still beholden to the fast system in general, because those shares are still fast shares. They just are fast shares with your name on it rather than the DTCC's name or your broker's name. But they're still doing the same thing. People talk about Elon and Dogecoin. That was definitely market manipulation, but because it's a cryptocurrency, you can't get in trouble for it. That's the great thing about cryptocurrency is that there's no regulations. You can do what would be violating laws in any other market all you want, and the government goes, well, there's no law specifically against it, so I guess pump and dump all the crypto you want because we can't do anything about it. Michael O'Hara, Phil Schiller of Apple ended his Twitter account. That's the first step of Twitter being dropped by the Apple app. I think it might be close. A couple more things go haywire on Twitter, and it's very likely the App Store just goes, you're done. And they've done it to other things in the past that were screaming messes. Oh shoot, there was a couple of social media ones that got, what were their names? Can't remember the names of them, but there was one that got out of control and was posting too many pictures of like, oh, what was that one called, Monkey? Read an article about it. It was like 5 years ago. There were like different channels, and it was a timeline each channel. And the channel, like people would make their own, like, I don't know, we love dogs, and be like a channel all about we love dogs, kind of, a mixture between, say, Twitter and Discord. And there was no moderation whatsoever, so things went haywire. And then App Store and Google dropped them both, and the company disappeared like overnight. And I can't remember the name of it at all. Does it start with a D? My brain keeps wanting to say Discord, but it's not Discord. What was it called? I can't remember. But yeah, it's a death knell. If you can't meet the standards of the App Store, can't exist. And no one's going to go to their computer just to spend time on Twitter. They want to scroll on their phone. That's what they do. Winter Cage, it never made sense to me. Why the hell would somebody buy a company and then fire everyone? Doesn't that seem very counterproductive? Especially without like ferreting out what everyone does and what processes and services are needed. Like he was on Twitter saying, we're going to get rid of the thing that says tweeted from iPhone or tweeted from Android, tweeted from web, because it doesn't serve any purpose. And then all these Twitter employees are like, actually, it helps us identify if they're tweeting from a bot program or not. And that helps us monitor the actual bots that you claim you're going to stop coming on here. It serves a purpose. And Elon's like, fire everyone. And so they may fire the person who knows how to take that program off, so maybe I'll stay for a little while longer. Okay. Hey, Backwater, Twitter has been losing $1 million a day. What you gonna keep everybody? Well, Twitter's losing more than that. They used to spend $40 million a year in interest on their loans, and they'd lose a couple $100 million here and there. But they weren't having issues covering their loans. Now they're paying upwards of $2 billion a year on interest on the loans. And the only reason they have to pay that much is because the company got leveraged for purchase. So Elon did it to himself. It's like, I burned my house down, and I'm like, oh my gosh, who would do such a thing? We're all trying to find out who's responsible for this, says the guy in the hot dog suit. Yeah, Elon, Twitter wasn't making a profit, but they were doing okay. A few tweaks here and there, they could be making a profit, but going through it with a fire axe and a blowtorch did not seem to be the solution. Robert Plant, HR can be contracted out, payroll can be contracted out. Yes, for more money than you were paying the people to do it yourself. Contracting out for payroll and services and stuff is not cheaper than just doing it yourself. Never really has been. It's going to be a little easier. You're like, I don't want to do all that crap. But contracting out that stuff is never cheaper because those folks have to make a profit of what they're doing. General Data Protection Regulation. Thank you. GDPR. Thank you, Just Buddies. That's what it is. GDPR. True Sol, Twitter's operating 200 million users with a staff of 1,000. Twitter got fat, but Twitter also expanded their services a lot further. They started doing news services. They started offering space calls, stories, you get tips, money, subscriptions, super chats, super followers. You could do, and then they had to do consent decree with FTC, which required hiring hundreds of people and moderators. And I mean, they need thousands upon thousands upon thousands of moderators alone to keep their requirements under various international regulations standard, and B, to keep the advertisers happy. Because advertisers do not want, Ford Trucks does not want to be under a tweet with the N-word in it. They don't. And if you don't have the moderators to make sure that stuff doesn't happen, then Ford Trucks is going to be associated with the N-word on your platform, and they're going to cancel their subscription. Ed Backwater, Houston, the man developed rocket reentry and landing. Please, why all the neg? Ed Backwater, NASA did that in 1990. It was the first time it actually happened. So Elon did not deliver that. And let's put it this way, Blue Origin did it 6 months before Elon ever did. So, the technology existed. All Elon did was hire those engineers and have them do it again with his name on it. He did not develop shit. He paid people to develop it or to reproduce it, but it was already done. It had already been done. Carlos R. Hola, Wade. No Lab and DBMM. What you think? What's DBMM? I don't know what DBMM is. DBMM. Digital Brand Media Marketing Group. I don't know who these folks are. Gotta get rid of the earth here. Turn you off. Nope, turn you off. DBMM. They bounce around between 12 and 16. That's quite a volatility. I mean, today you could have bought at 12, sold at 15, so you're up 25%. Bought at 12 again, sold at 16, so you're up 30%. Bought again at 14, sold at 16, get that 20% gain. I bought at 14, sold at 16, bought at 12, sold at 16 again. So that's a lot of volatility on those guys. I don't know what they do. They bounce between 20 and 0. Oh, they never existed. Oh no, they did exist. They're just barcoding. So we've been at 0, we've been at 10, we've been at 0, been at 10, 0, 10, 0, all up 20. I mean, right now it looks like you can day trade the hell out of this thing. I don't no idea what they do. It's an OTC markets company. Provides us an opportunity in the growing digital marketing social media sector, operating in New York, London, Los Angeles. Oh. Meow meow. Monkey Butt is telepathically telling me she wants pig ears now. She is giving me the squirrely eye there. Oh, you're gonna scratch your neck and make some more loud noises? Is that what you're gonna do? Yeah? Is that what you want? You want one of those? We got... Oh, I'm way past my normal show time. I do have to go to my... Whoa. All right, we'll scroll the bottom. I'll do a couple more, and then that'll be it for the day. Is that what you want? Yeah? Come get it. Better come get it. You know how to jump. You know how to jump. You don't want to do it for everybody? Okay. We'll get some loud crunches there at the end there. Okay. Oh, no, you got it. Eat it. I gave it to you. That's it. Hey, we got a couple minutes. And then we got to go help them on. There you go. Crunch away. All right. Good job, Meow Meow. She enjoys that. I need a pig ear to chew on. Okay, I'm going to scroll the bottom. I'm going to answer a couple of ones down here towards the bottom. And otherwise, I'll see you guys on Wednesday Westwind, did you hear about a guy that set a limit sell for just under 1 million for Acme? I think it was Canadian Quest Trade. No, that's hilarious. And I hope I get it. Can you imagine if this does what we're all thinking GME is going to do when it finally goes? Oh, buddy. Those limit orders, dude. If the computer's buying, it's buying anything that's available, and it always happen to be that's what's available, they're going to buy it. It's going to go. That's how those computers work. So there might be some freaks selling some stuff at just insane prices and, buying tropical islands after that. So let's hope everyone can become part of the tropical island buying paradise there. All right. Marduk, the meta guy. Yeah, that was me. Canada Quest Trade. Oh, Marduk, let us know how it works, my man. I hope for the best. Woo. Okay. Is that it, monkey? That's it. We got to go. My mom literally left a message. It was like, I need you to come over because there's things I need a tall person for, which I don't know how she gets things on those top shelves and then she can't get them down, but that's what I'm about to go get. All right. Monkey Butt, have a good time. Excellent. I'll see everybody on Wednesday. Hope everyone has a great day, great night. This week should be shaping up to be just weird and wonderful and a great Thanksgiving. So it is dark outside now, right? Yep, it's dark out there, so one of these. Bye. Can't get to stay. There you go. Arr, matey.